Hi, everyone. Welcome to TalkGA, our podcast on anything and everything Grand Archive. I'm Mark, your host, and joining me is Fome and Eva.
Yo.
Hello.
Okay. All right. So, as usual, what have you been up to this week? Or last week? All the events.
SP2.
Anime Expo.
Anime
Yes.
Expo.
Recently.
Ooh, how was that?
Actually,
Yeah.
it wasn't even that.
Big event.
Time's not real. Yeah, it was a huge event, and like the Grand Archive booth was super popular. It was like really successful, and we've been getting some new local players that got into the game because of Anime Expo demos. So
We met them yesterday.
great. Yeah,
we met.
it's
We
great.
met some
Awesome.
of them yesterday. I'm assuming there's more at other stores too. That's crazy. Yeah. These events it's really helping with growing the game for sure.
Yeah, super successful.
Yeah.
And it's been cracking a lot of
SP2s?
that sweet SP2.
Got any good hits?
Yes. Eva, I think, pulled CSR Carter.
Yes.
Harder. Whoa.
CSR.
On
Nice.
box number 9.
Yes, the
Nice,
most coveted
nice, nice.
CSR in the set.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good rates
Do you-
because it's like 1 out of 25 CSRs. I mean, it's not
25
guaranteed,
boxes?
but yeah, sorry, 1 out of 25 CSRs.
Yeah.
The rates are generally 1 out of 25 boxes.
Oh wow.
So
That's pretty good.
1 in 9 is pretty
1
good.
in 9 is pretty good.
Pretty
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
SP2 is pretty cool, by the way, for people that might not know what SP2 is all about. So this is the second supporter pack.
Yes.
And supporter pack is kind of a supplementary product that they released, which contains extended alternate art versions of a bunch of really cool cards. And all the proceeds from the supporter pack go to help, I think, prizing.
Organized events.
And for organized events.
Yes.
So that's why it's called supporter pack, because if you buy them, you directly support the players and the community.
Yep.
It's a really, really cool product idea.
Good product.
Yeah,
It's good,
And
yeah.
Also, a word of warning: if you want to get your hands on SP2
Yeah.
and you weren't able to go to Anime Expo, just stick around. There's going to be more events, more conventions. Ascents, they typically sell the supporter packs there as well. And if you're on the Discord, they will probably do a future merch day, which is like a 1-day special sale that they will offer selling these directly.
Yeah.
So please do not go to eBay and buy these for inflated prices, level like $80 to $100, because if you're patient, you can probably get your hands on it.
Yeah. I mean, correct. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to get it in the future, right? And I think most players who have seen Supporter Pack 1 knows about this, but obviously we have a lot of new audience even watching our
course.
show, so it's good to let them know this is how you get it. Yeah, so just hang tight, be patient.
Pro tip: don't get FOMO.
But Foam, there are some people who are impatient though, so it's unfortunately the market is gonna do what it's gonna do, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Speaking of the market, Mark, hit us with the latest updates.
Yes. From cornering the market.
Pouring the market.
All right.
Ding.
Yeah, so in general, right, we know the game has been growing. We know Anime Expo has brought in a lot more new players. So obviously that means, look, when the tides rise, all ship, right? So basically every single product, I would say, in Grand Archive is going up in prices, right? So in general, right? So SP2 obviously just dropped, so everyone's kind of chasing. MRC prices actually are softening a little bit. There was a peak.
Nice.
They're coming down a little bit, but only certain cards. And I think it's as the meta is shifting on what's good going into these major events, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, the prices are kind of softening. I know that the boxes are coming down a little bit, but again, it's still much higher than MSRP or what they were at release, right? Again, it's pretty obvious there's just a shortage of product, right? So ALC right now is also really bullish. Part of this is just because ALC is out of stock. And now we've realized there are actually some good cards in ALC and it's hard to get them. So
Yeesh.
yeah, and I believe ALC actually had a pretty decent print run, 27K if I remember this correctly, something like that. But again, the set is large. It's as large as DOA. So you have to open more boxes to get the same amount of cards. As an example, I think currently I still don't have a full playset of Neos Elemental, and I opened quite a bit of ALC.
Wow.
So like if I want to play a Neos Elemental full playset, I can't actually do it. I can just buy it. It's not too expensive. It's not really a played card, but I mean, imagine if that was the Carter or some other card that's actually being heavily used, right? So yeah, that's the current state of ALC. Rose, for example, another one of
Alter
those.
Edition, please come soon.
Yes, so there has been an announcement for Alter, right? That is going to happen in October, November?
I don't think they ever officially confirmed.
Well, Alter they had always been saying that it would come. I don't think there has ever been a definitive
Date
announcement for like a specific day. But everyone is expecting it to come. What they have announced is that, which is kind of crazy. I've never seen any game company do this. Is a kind of like honest acknowledgement of singles prices, kind of getting a little bit higher than they hope.
They acknowledge the secondary market.
They acknowledge the secondary market.
It's crazy.
It exists. We exist. I exist.
That means we can sue them or whatever stuff that Hasbro is avoiding acknowledging it for. They put out this like statement across their social media, basically saying that there's been a rapid influx of new players, and so a lot of the stables have been just like increasing in price like crazy. And I think even the devs feel that they need to come down a little bit. And the specific card I think they pointed out was Dungeon Guide, which is it's kind of like as close as you can get to a stable in this game. I think as we're speaking right now, they're hovering around $30. 30-ish, 35, which is maybe for a card that like a lot of decks need 4 of is kind of like a big investment.
It's painful.
So I think it's fantastic that the team has acknowledged that, and that there's going to be a Dungeon Guide reprint coming, I think within the next set.
Correct.
Mortal Ambition. So that's going to be cool. We'll have new art and everything like that.
Well, I don't think they confirmed that it would have new art, but hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what the collectors want.
I'm guessing that it's going to be that.
I think it's got to fit the theme of the next set too.
True.
So we'll have our 3 kingdoms.
Yeah, it has to be in the world of Sangwa.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. But also, this doesn't prevent potentially DOA from being reprinted as an example too.
Sure.
Because currently in what I'm seeing on the market, right, DOA was one of the, like, everyone agrees DOA is a good set. Unlike FTC, no one's like, we don't need DOA, but DOA prices have consistently been suppressed. And I'm one of the more vocal persons about this for a long time, that I think DOA prices are wrong. Like them being around $78 when ALC was going up to like 99. This is before, by the way, was wrong. And that's finally proven true because DOA is out of stock and the price is going up. I'm thinking last time I just saw a case, I think recently sold for equivalent of about $120 per box for DOA. So $720 for the case.
I want to clarify for the audiences, when Mark says the price is wrong, he means that it's underpriced for it, and that you guys can pick it up and make more money back by selling the singles. Not that he thinks that the prices ought to be more expensive.
Sorry. It just means that I think it's being undervalued, right? Like people are not realizing what's inside the box, that you could actually open it and get more value out of it, or just as a way of, instead of like, don't actually do this at home, right? Because it doesn't work out this way. But technically, for a big vendor that can open, let's say, a couple $1,000s worth of product, they would make more back getting the Dungeon Guides, getting the Pendragons to then sell the singles. And that helps the community and helps them as a vendor as well. And that was not happening, which to me was a little bit weird, right? It's a weird thing that usually you have what we call in the industry inverted EV, inverted expected value, meaning the expected value of the box is more than the sealed box cost. That doesn't make sense. Usually
there's like an inefficiency in the market where it was like the true value was not reflected in the baked in price.
Exactly. Which could also signal a reprinted DOA as another option. So it could be, I mean, again, like maybe strategically it's not really smart for Weeps to do this, but maybe potentially a DOA reprint in addition to the reprint of certain staples of like Dungeon Guides in Mortal Ambitions. Otherwise, like that's pretty much it.
I got a market update.
Yeah. What's up?
Every card in the Nico deck is exploding.
I knew you were going to talk about Nico.
So I'm so glad I got my playset of Cerulean Decrees. Because I think they're now, they're pushing $25 to $30 each. And the Icebound Slams, I think, are $35.
That one is a little bit fluffy, but yeah.
I think it's just because like people are realizing that the Nico deck, as we predicted, is the truth. It's like, I think a bunch of events Nico was placing really high. Did it win like one of the recent regionals or something like that?
I believe so.
I think either one or it's definitely in the final.
I've seen a lot of representation in the regionals recently.
So it's no surprise that a lot of these Nico stables are going up in price too.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of decks, What are you guys all playing now in Mercure Heart since release? Eva, you want to go first?
I mean, I'm boring. I'm still always playing my pet Water Lorraine Crux Knight deck.
But what new card are you trying?
That's the thing. It's like I'm like constantly tweaking it. But the thing is that I'm a casual. I don't actually practice this game outside of locals. Like, granted, sure, I go to sometimes 3 locals a week.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't practice. I never like play online. I don't do any testing. So all the testing I do is literally just I bring it to an event and then I play those rounds. And I'm like, is this card good? I don't know. I'll play it for another few events and then find out.
That's
so
the
it's like,
fun way to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's fun and it's like kind of a. I mean, I say I'm casual, but I'm still going to like 2 or 3 events a week. So I don't know. But so going back to last episode.
Yeah.
Remember when you guys were saying how Fractal of Rain should be banned?
Yeah.
I can't say I agree. I really can't say I agree. Like, you can't compare it to Creative Shock where you have all like the liberty to throw away, to discard the card that you want to discard. And then
I think we were maybe a little bit exaggerating how good Fractal Rain is. I still say it's pretty good, but it's,
Eva, you just need to throw all the cards you want to discard in your deck. Then every card that you discard is a card you want to discard.
That's the thing. Like, Creative Shock can go in pretty much any fire deck, besides the ones that are super aggro and fast and don't want anything to slow them down.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it can go in almost every fire deck. Fractal of Rain is actually, I think, a little bit more build around than we thought. Like, you have to have a really high volume of floating memory cards that are worth throwing into your graveyard. Fractal of Rain is the fractal where if you imbue it by showing 2 water cards as you cast it or activate it. Every turn on your recollection phase, you can choose one player to put 1 card from their deck into their graveyard. Usually you choose yourself because you build your deck in a way where you benefit from having things in the graveyard, whether it's like water cards to buff certain things like Crystal and Longsword or Dahlia. Last episode I talked about how I was trying it and I took it out, and then Fome talked me into putting it back into my deck.
like we cooked a little bit too hard that night, I think.
Yeah. So now it's back out because I think it's just I keep hitting things I don't want to hit.
You hit Slay the King, you're like, ugh.
But you can just crux-side it back.
No, yeah. If it's crux, then that's somewhat fixable. But if I'm hitting my dungeon guides and my like water cards, I also can't bring back. I think what water is missing is a way to bring
water players always complaining.
to bring things out of the
Snapcaster
graveyard.
mage.
We got draw cards, but now we got to bring it back from the graveyard too.
But I don't know if it's too like stepping on the identity of Crux, because Crux already has Crux Sight where you can bring a Crux card from the graveyard into your hand. Anyway, Fractal of Rain I think is good for some decks, not good for every deck. We're not worth a ban.
I agree with you. Even though I was the one that was like, "Hey, put 4 Fractal Rains."
You're so high on
would
Fractal
you
Rain.
believe me if I was just like I baited you both into this?
Yeah, I also
I jokingly
tried to
said it, but now I realize that I've caused some real damage.
Thanks, Mark.
I mean, I try to do it in Fog Xander too.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, I'm gonna get so much floating value out of this. I'm gonna keep using it by floating every turn to level up and down. But yeah, I kept hitting stuff I didn't want in the yard. I kept milling all my win cons, and there's actually not many win cons in the deck. So yeah, I'm back to the non-fractal build of that deck. I'm still running Fractal Rain in my Mordred deck.
Oh, I was
That
gonna
one
say
makes
yeah,
sense.
you should run it in your water Mordred.
That's all floating memory.
Yeah, basically, I don't care if anything goes to the grave.
You get it back anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did you put in instead of Fractal Ring?
Reprogram.
Oh yes,
Reprogram.
That is a very good card right now.
Answers, yeah.
Extremely relevant card right now.
Yes, I think in the words of Christian, every deck has to run 4 reprograms now, just because the Win Robots deck is just such a threat.
Too strong, yeah.
I'm running 4 of them, and it feels good every time. And it says you can up to 1 ally the effect. So reprogram is up to 1 target ally. If it's a non-automaton, it just gets -1 attack. If it's automaton, it gets 2 debuff counters and has floating memory.
Correct.
But because it's just up to, you can like have no target and you can just play that as free fast speed floating memory.
Yep.
So it's basically the new fast cure.
But better, way better.
Yeah, it's like a fast cure, but it kills stuff.
Yeah, you have targets you want to hit on even turn 1 usually.
Yeah, because everybody loves to play their like stealth shimmer cloak turn 1. And like, bye-bye.
Yep. I played a player this yesterday using Reprogram, and they favorable winds, right? To try to save it.
To give it one more life.
But realizing the -2 that goes on the Shimmer Cloak is actually done as a counter. So at end phase, when the until end of turn +1 health goes away, it still dies.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yes,
right,
you get the
right.
damage through, but then
No,
it's
debuff
still
is
dead.
permanent. So as soon as they lose the +1
1
health, it
exactly.
dies.
So there's no way. Like it's you have to have base stat or something that's like permanently on, like Andronica type of thing, to increase your base stat higher to deal with it. It's pretty good. Yeah, Reprogram is necessary as long as Automatons is main stage, and it is right now. So,
But what have you been playing?
I've been kind of hopping around a little bit. So I tried the Tristan stuff. I haven't tried the Sylvie deck. Maybe I should do that, but I'm just not a Sylvie player, gonna be honest. And even Slimes doesn't really interest me. So I kind of went back to Merlin because I heard some rumblings that Merlin could be good into Tristan. I'm happy to report to you that I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I saw you get rolled by Tristan.
Yeah.
Like several times in a row.
Yeah, I think I think if Tristan has the draws and Merlin has the right draws, I think Merlin's still slow by maybe 1 to 2 turns, which is not good enough. Because of if Tristan can double, all it needs is 1 Mastermind Scheme and then basically 1 Shadow Strike, and you won the game.
And even if you have the interaction, they've got
In-cap.
No,
Okay,
of course.
okay. They have in-cap
True,
too. But
but-
there's a card that actually says you cannot interact.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know it. You love it.
Yeah.
Corhazi
I
Outlook.
hate that card.
Yeah.
All the homies hate Corhazi Outlook.
Yeah.
Sorry. So when are they banning Corhazi Outlook? Because we need that card gone like pronto.
Yeah. It should just skip category 2 and be straight to category 3.
Dude, okay, yes. So it was added to the watch list
Yeah.
of the banner restricted
So
list.
category 1, right?
Yeah, category 1, which is like they're just saying that this might be a problem in the future, and then category 2 usually with each banner restricted announcement they move it up 1 category if it has that trajectory, right?
Yeah.
Like we've never seen anything skip categories.
Yeah.
But hopefully this. I'm just kidding. And then category 2 is the cards that are potentially going to be banned
Pretty
soon.
problematic.
Yeah,
pretty seriously problematic. Yeah.
And then category 3 is the cards that straight up you can't play in standard format. So last time we said Corhazi Outlook entered category 1, but then usually they have a banner restricted announcement every month, right? But this time they had one in June, and then they skipped July, and the next one's in August.
Okay.
So it's like we have to wait till next month to see if Corhazi Outlook makes it to category 2, and then how long do we have to wait for it to hit category 3? Because
Yeah, what the heck?
Can we-
I don't want to play against this in Chicago.
can we
Can we
fast
just get rid
forward a little
Just
bit?
like yeet it into the sun.
Yeet it.
Yeah, I think, man, why was this not a problem? Because this is printed FTC, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let me tell
It's
you
been
why.
around.
Well, let me describe to you the situation, precisely why it's a problem. Okay. We didn't have Mastermind Scheme
Yeah.
before.
Yeah,
So like you're like, how much
counters are hard to get.
prep can you really have? But I think I've seen someone at a locals activate Corhazi 20 times, find their Shadow Strike, and then crack GCR and kill them that turn.
Jesus.
They had 40 prep
And
counters.
that's not even the reason why people use
Crazy.
Corhazi for, at least on the surface, right? It's the disable you from casting cards part. It's
Yeah.
not the glimpsing part, but
Yeah.
that is part of the card, yeah.
So flashback to the last episode where I made this motion on the card because I was
Yeah.
like, I thought you have to rest it in order to activate, and you corrected me. You were like, oh no, it doesn't even have to do that. But
You literally just give up 1 prep counter, and you can use the ability as many times
yeah,
as you
so
want.
the consequence
Crazy.
of that is just like, I will dig through my entire deck to find my win con and kill you.
And you can't do a single thing about it.
Yeah, I can't stand this card.
Can you tell we're a little bit salty? Can you tell us water players are have some opinions about this card that says you can't interact?
True. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so there are some ways to interact. I think Eva and I have been putting Corhazi Trapper.
It's not really interaction. Like we've had long conversations about like what the hell can us water players do against a Tristan with Corhazi Outlook and Shadow Strike. which is their big attack where they give up all their prep counters to do a gigantic swing that ignores intercept and taunt. So it's like we can't even put up defenses on the field. We can't hold up cards to play to interact when they do stuff. What can we do? So we're like, one thing we can try Corhazi Trapper, which is an ally where on enter it gives you a prep counter, and then you can rest it and remove one prep counter to give
this one has to be rested.
Someone's I know this. How come this one has to be rested?
How come this one has to be rested?
It makes someone's attack -3 power for that turn.
Yes, correct.
So that's something that you can do because you can just leave your trapper on the field and then do that to -3, I guess, of their like 20 something power attack.
Right, and because Trapper's already on the field, you're not casting this at like fast speed. They already know. They could just say, "I'll go 3 over," because I know you're going to do that. So it's not even really stopping them.
It's like an onboard trick. Everyone can see it coming.
So a couple things about Corhazi Outlook we should talk about. Number one is, it's not like you can't do anything. You can't activate cards. Okay.
Right.
So cards in hand are no longer useful. However, if you have things on the field, they still can be activated.
Right.
Which is why one of the things that people have been discussing is like a way to potentially deal with like a Tristan doing this kind of stuff is like, what about other things? Like maybe there's regalias you can activate.
Oh yeah, you can Quicksilver into a Tariff Ring.
Sure.
Try to surprise them that way.
Exactly. So Quicksilver is a great one. There's a lot of things you can hide under Quicksilver that could deal with Corhazi Outlook doing its thing where that turn you're gonna die, right? In the Tristan mirror, one thing that I've seen people do is you Quicksilver a mantle, Gloamspire mantle. So for those that don't understand, so
what is that card?
It's a Gloamspire mantle, I believe, costs 0. It gives all your Ominous Shadows ambush, but the key is that if you can also pay 3 on materializing this card to get another shadow. So imagine a turn where somehow your shadows got all like wrecked, and then they're about to shadow strike you for 15. You're gonna die. You can Quicksilver Gloamspire Mantle, get a new shadow, redirect damage. That's like but it's like it doesn't help water players. This is a Tristan.
Congratulations, Tristan.
Yeah,
you have tools
Tristan.
that deal with your own deck. Makes a lot of sense. Another like really dirty thing I think I've seen people do with Corhazi Outlook is like, sometimes like I'm like, okay, well, what if I have like double interaction? Like I could have Shroud and Mist and also hold up Incapacitate. To like, if they try to incapacitate my Shroud, I could then incapacitate your Incapacitate. But then what they'll do is they'll activate Corhazi Outlook, and then I'll be like, okay, well now in response to that, I have to Shroud, otherwise I can't play anything for that turn. And then they're like, okay, I activate again, do you respond? And I can't respond, I have nothing else to respond because I'm holding up like Incapacitate in my hand. And they'll be like, okay, now I'll incapacitate your Shroud, and I can't incapacitate back your Incapacitate because now I can't cast anything. Oh my god.
It's ridiculous.
And it's so dirty.
Maybe just having a tap is enough. That stat line is also hard to deal with. I mean, it's a 1/3.
Truly, why is it a 2-cost 1/3? Sorry, we're just like ranting about this card.
3 defense is really hard to deal with. It usually takes 2 cards, right? Two allies to deal with a 3. So
disgusting card.
Yeah, it's good.
All right,
cool.
Ban that card. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Is there? I heard there's a podcast now called Corhazi Outlook.
Good segue, Mark. Good segue, Mark.
Yeah.
So our friends Ken and Jim just started a new meta-focused podcast called the Corhazi Outlook. They recently released their first episode, which is all about Ascent Taipei.
Whoa.
Like we had this whole conversation. I was like, why did you name your podcast based on a card that's hopefully about to get banned soon? And like, of course, we had all these jokes about like, oh, it'll show that like, oh, we were the OG, we're here first. Like, oh, it'll be vintage soon.
It's like the Channel Fireball.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, there's another Magic podcast named after a notoriously like way overpowered card.
Okay.
Was it a podcast at first?
It's
a store, right? It's like a big,
sorry, I'm not
store
podcast.
or company. Yeah,
I got confused with Limited Resources, which is a podcast. But there's a store named after a very powerful Magic card that's banned.
Uh-huh.
And
or a combo of 2 cards.
Yeah. So then you know that that store has been around for a long time.
Yeah, like they knew the old meta.
So it's an actual thing. Got it.
It's like like imagine if your podcast is called like the Ferrari Lorraine or something. People are like, you were there.
You were there.
In the beginning, all right.
Shout out to lineage break, not a real word in the game anymore.
Oh yeah, lineage break too. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because that mechanic is no longer keyworded, I guess.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah, but check out their podcast.
Check out Corhazi Outlook. Yeah, the meta focused podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
So, have you guys been watching the meta recently?
Recently, yeah, a little bit. I saw some Nikos are coming up finally.
Yeah, I'm getting wrecked by some of the new meta, namely Wind Robots.
Wind robots. Yeah. What else? I mean, Tristan, obviously.
Yeah.
I saw a resurgence of Merlins a little bit.
And Merlin is seeming to make a resurgence. I guess some people were claiming that Merlin is unplayable, which is quite a loaded statement if you ask me. But yeah, apparently...
Shaking my head.
God, some people just have it too good.
You guys have it too good. Oh, my favorite deck isn't number 1 anymore. Boo-hoo.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it's really good now because the fragmented Spirit of Fire makes the deck super consistent. Yeah. Is that true in your testing too, or?
I have not personally tested that using the fragmented Spirit of Fire, but I can understand exactly why. Because Merlin's basically, if I can get a DG in hand, that smooths out that turn 2 much better to go to Merlin 3, especially if DG with like a couple floating memory to go eat if I don't have one for my opponent. Yeah. It makes it a lot better. Plus, once you get 3, you get the card back. It's not really a big deal. Yeah, so I think overall that makes sense to me from a meta perspective. Yeah. What about Nico? We were talking about Nico earlier. Anything you want to say about Nico? They like, is it the truth? Is it the truth that nobody discovered?
Nothing has really changed, and like suddenly people are respecting Nico, and it's like, why is that?
I'm so curious whether she's actually really good or if people were just unprepared to see this many Nikos.
I think water always surprises people. I think water has always been kind of good. Okay, well, I say that, but then I think about literally the card I think about in water is Tidal Sweep, and I'm like, that's not a good card.
God, I can't. Sorry.
But Eva has floating memory, so it's fine.
Yeah, that fixes everything.
I've heard it explained to me that Nico is actually good against Umbra Tristan.
Yeah.
And shout outs to Photic Fox, who actually explained it to me this way, which is like, actually, when you're like, hitting Tristan continuously with Icebound Slam, but you also have the interactions with like Sterling Decree or Song of Frost to stop the like kill you 1 turn Shadow Strike. Then of course we were just talking about Corhazi Outlook or Incapacitate being necessary tools to be able to get around the interaction. But if you have to assemble the interaction and kill in the same turn while trying to fend off a lot of aggression from the Nico player, it's like you're kind of being like squeezed in this vice. And then they also have like the alternate win con of just like milling you out in 1 turn. So
Ravishing Finale is a good card. Crazy card.
Yeah.
I think also Nico's kind of passive way of getting value, like with things like Icebound. So Icebound Slam obviously on the surface does a lot of damage, but in the back end it's also milling 5 probably cards that Nico wants in the graveyard. So that's helping a lot. And things like if you include Fractal of Rain, this is where actually it makes sense.
So you're like advancing your game plan without having to slow down your aggression.
And aggression is actually, I think, Tristan's weakness, to be honest. Like most Tristan players will say, I need to get to 3 because I need my shadows to prevent me from dying. But once I get to 3, I feel pretty good, right? And you'll notice a lot of Tristan players have to kind of take 1 turn off to get something like a Swift Boots, right? Because they don't have enough prep counters to go to 2. So if you
Windwalker Boots,
sorry. Yes. And if you can get them before that happens, that makes a huge difference, right? Because they're still at like 19 health. And okay, they level up. They're going to, they're still pretty low. They're not at the with shadows defending type of thing. And you're hitting for like 8. Yeah, it's a lot. So
if there's one thing that Tristan doesn't want to waste time doing, like replaying Sadie, pulling it back to your hand, like doing all this like kind of stuff that doesn't interact with the board at all. I mean, they want to just get as much prep counters as possible. And if there's one thing Tristan players hate is to get to level 2 with only 3 prep counters. So if you kind of like force them to like keep leveling up because you're putting all this pressure on and they're gonna die, really screws up their game plan.
Yeah, that early pressure I think is where Nico shines, and getting the values and not having and Nico having 25 health helps a lot. It's not I mean that's what Tristan is. Let's put it this way, right? As a level 2 champion, Nico has as much health as Tristan.
At level 3.
Level 3, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's another way to think about it. So it's Nico can take some hits before going down. It's
Nico
not
also has onboard defense. So
Yeah.
like even with the Corhazi Outlook, there's like the shield that will reduce the
yeah.
damage.
reduce damage exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mage Bane Lash also reduces damage.
Yeah,
from
like
non-attack.
non-attack damage.
Yeah. So there's ways. I think that's why Nico can last longer. Nico's fairly aggressive. And yeah, water has interactivity, so Nico does work, I think. Maybe that's why the Nikos are becoming more popular in this meta, when Wind, Umbra, Tristan is kind of taking the lead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. The robots deck. Should we talk about the robots deck?
Dude, the robots deck is so scary. Like this deck is like the original Wind Allies deck, but like it just lays on the damage so fast.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I really appreciated this, but like when you have like a Shimmer Cloak Assassin, and then you pop 1 power cell on it, now it's 4. Pop another, now it's 6. You swing with that. Second wind, swing again.
Now it's 7 power.
Yeah, so now you just hit them for 14.
And then you can also rally to advance.
Yes.
Make it wake up and attack again.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So like, I think because it's like you're exploiting the ability of like a temporary buff to one ally, but if you make that ally just hit multiple times, it just does so much.
It's almost like you got it for 3 turns in a row instead of just 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you both been on the other end of this?
Receiving end of
this?
Yeah,
Eden?
hence the 4x reprogram.
Yeah, yesterday I was playing against, I think, the same Win Robo Allies player that you were playing against yesterday. And they didn't fully understand how Corhazi Trapper worked. Thankfully, I had one on the field.
Okay.
And then they did the whole thing of like 2 power cells and second win and rallied in advance. And I was like, Corhazi Trapper makes all of its attacks this turn -3.
Yeah.
So instead of doing 21 damage, it did 12? 12, yeah.
Yeah, so
4 3 times, 12.
So that's like
Pretty good.
even with the Corhazi Trapper, it still did 12
It still did 12. It's
and you would have
crazy.
been so dead if you didn't have that. So that's the I guess the number 1 new aggro deck, I'd say.
yeah, so seems like with all these regionals, game is fairly healthy. I was recently talking with the organizers for the Philippines regional, and they're saying like they're expecting 200 people to show up for a regional.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're putting on a really big event. The idea is I think they really want to win the Ascent slot maybe for next year.
Oh.
So they're trying to put on a big show to show the organizers or show weebs that they can run a big event. It's very professional, so they can get the ability to host the Ascent as well. How many people showed up to the Malaysian regionals recently?
It was like 114, which is huge.
That is also a lot of people.
Right?
Wow.
That's a lot
awesome.
of people. What our regionals are? I think our biggest one was like the WoCal regional.
SoCal had like 80 or so.
No, they hit
one-
over 100.
that was over
The
100.
first one.
But that
Okay.
was the first one ever, and it was like a big event because it was like, what is a like it was for
Yeah,
GA players.
yeah.
Like, what is a regional? So people I remember for that one, people showed up from like Australia or something.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
so.
It came like
had-
a mini like ascent of
yeah.
some sort.
We had people showing up from like
but,
all
yeah.
over. I brought up all these numbers because I think Southeast Asia is popping off right now
Oh,
for
yeah,
Grand Archive.
for sure.
Absolutely.
And all the efforts that weebs have put into, like, I don't know, promote the game in that region is really showing, right? Like from the Square Live promos to like just running different events, now starting up Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Mortal Ambitions next set, it's like for Asia.
It's competitive there.
It's very competitive.
Like you have all these other Japanese TCGs.
Yeah.
And yet GA seems to be thriving.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats to the team for getting it there.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, it's not just that there's like a huge player base like booming over in Southeast Asia. It's also they're doing extremely well competitively. I don't know if you guys follow the leaderboards on Omnidex, but the top 20 right now, there's only 3 people on the top 20 for champion points that aren't in Asia.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, wow.
insanity.
Yeah.
It's actually insanity. Like, and the 3 people are 2 members of True Champion Gaming. Of course, you know,
Yeah.
they're like the strongest team in Grand Archive right now.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd person is Sky-sama, you know, Jeremy, one of our own locals, which is really awesome to
congrats,
see. Like,
Jeremy.
congrats, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's go.
But then, like, literally everyone else is like in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines. They're really competitive.
We're getting wrecked.
I'm in the
USA in shambles.
True.
You mean whole world outside of Asia?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding. it's not us versus them, but it's cool to see.
But yeah, I mean, I get it, and they're very passionate over there. I mean, like they discuss Omnidex Elo every day. I'm in there like it's not
Oh,
Discord.
you're spying on them?
No. They invited me.
You speak Chinese.
I mean, I just kind of hang out in their this is a line app like group. So I mean, half the time, like I remember last season, so I haven't really spent time there to see what they're talking about this season. But last season, I saw all the conversation about like, oh, I just fell out of top 100. I'm gonna get back in today. I'm gonna grind this event at like center of Taiwan instead of like going in Taipei. Man. Like they're super serious about this. They're like, I'm gonna drive 2 hours so I can
your
get back
ELO's
in
below
top
that.
100.
Your opinion doesn't matter.
Oh,
Don't even try to
my
me.
God. You know, honestly, when Omnidex first came out, I wasn't expecting it to have such a strong like social aspect where people are bonding over that. Like, because I'm in a Discord server for like GA girlies, like a bunch of
There's a girl GA?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Whoa,
a bunch of
alright.
like my friends that are
Nice.
female players in the game.
Nice.
Even in our GA girlies Discord, there's a channel for Omnidex records, and it's actually not that active anymore. But for a while, we were updating each other on like, I went to
are
this
very
event and
serious
my
about
elo went from this to this. It's like
That's what they do. That's what they do too.
Yeah,
They do
yeah.
Do you guys calculate like how
Yes.
much elo you drop?
Yes, we
Oh
post all
my-
the numbers.
Okay.
Sometimes it's screenshots.
You're more sweaty than like the boys.
Well,
Have we ever
that's
talked
how you know
about
I'm
elo?
casual, because I have no idea how it's calculated. I don't know how much it
Doesn't even
drops
care.
between events.
He doesn't even care.
It's like, what was my elo? Oh, how does this even work?
What
What's the
the-
difference between a veterancy point and an elo? Like,
Or champions point.
yeah.
Or,
Oh yeah. There's like 3 different metrics on it or something like
VP,
that.
Forward.
CP, EL. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, yeah, no, I think Omnidex is actually one of the best ideas.
Yeah, it's great.
I was there was one day. This is side story. I was at VPC about the TO, and I sat in the area where I thought it was Grand Archive. It was actually not Grand Archive. So I started explaining to these players who were coming in like what the system is. This is like one of the first few weeks of Omni, and I'd never met these people because they're not playing Grand Archive, but I didn't know it at the time. So I was like, oh, you got to sign up for the app here, show them, and we're talking about what this Omnidex thing, and they're like, oh, this is great. And then, of course, I realized they were playing Magic. They're like, so Wizard of the Coast built this system? That's awesome.
Wait.
I'm over there. So,
Literally, small indie company builds a better working website.
But me quickly, within 5 minutes, explaining this whole system of Omnidex and why it's really cool, dude, the players are bought in. Non-GA players were like, yeah, that sounds like an amazing idea. Why would I, like, that's great. So, and these are people who are like, they play all the events of Magic. So yeah, you know it's a good system. This whole thing is better.
Yeah, Omnidex has everything. I mean, that's probably why they called it the Omnidex, because
Omnidex,
it's everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
event finder, store locator, leaderboards. You can see your elo.
Yep.
It's
Yeah. And the fact
job.
that you get physical rewards for
Oh,
doing
yeah.
placing well
It's crazy.
Yeah.
on the Omnidex. I mean, Magic the Gathering would not do that for you.
Yeah. They ship it to you and everything. Wow. that's
yeah.
crazy.
Anyone gotten their rewards yet for
I
last
have
season?
not.
Okay.
Are we just
I-
like,
So
I
we're
heard-
just all
I
at
heard
the
they're
bottom
all
of the
delayed
barrel.
due to the hurricane.
oh.
Yeah, but so they've been shipping it out based on like your rank. So the top ranking
Top
players
rank is
have
at
gotten their
first.
cards. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense why
Sorry,
none
I'm
of
in
us have
bronze or
our.
whatever, so I'm gonna get it last.
Yeah, I'm never gonna get mine.
yeah. All right, let's talk
Anyway.
quickly about events, right? So we got some events coming up soon.
Yeah,
Ascent Chicago, which is happening in 2 weeks.
yeah. Well, by the time the podcast comes out, it'll probably be right around the time.
Right now, it's happening right now.
God.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
We're
there's-
Eva and I are gonna go.
You guys are gonna go. That's right. I will not be going to Chicago this time.
Yeah,
But
I'm
I-
from Chicago. I'm staying with my parents, so just like can commute easily.
Yeah.
Nice. But I will be going to Ascent Singapore
Yeah.
towards
cool.
the end of September 28th, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that weekend. It's a 2-day event.
It feels like we just finished Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh man, there are so many events coming
now.
up.
It's true. It is true.
Have you seen that calendar, by the way?
Yeah, from the like
Sarah's map?
I think
The
it was
roadmap?
presented at Worlds, which is like a roadmap of
Yeah.
upcoming Ascent events
Yeah.
through the middle of 2025.
Yeah. Going into
It-
the next Worlds, basically.
Yeah, it is insane.
Yeah.
There's
Crazy.
like includes like 2 yet undisclosed location USA ascents.
Yeah.
A undisclosed European Ascent, I think in total, but since Worlds, there will be 10 Ascent events,
Yeah.
which is
Count it.
just honestly kind of, it's very ambitious, also kind of insane. I mean, for the players, that's very exciting. I'm sure that's like, wow, like it seems like no matter where you are in the world, you're not too far away from being able to attend an Ascent in your continent. I hope this team is, equipped to be able to run that many events. I mean, this is seems like more premium events than even, $100 million companies are running, or like companies, with literally 10 or 100 times the employees as them.
Yeah. At least directly, right? So that's the difference. Weebs actually get directly involved in these events. So
And the quality of the events is actually higher than some of the
they're
other
more,
events from other companies,
they're more
which
fun.
is
they're
crazy.
definitely more fun.
I think most companies just kind of they will hire some contractor to put it on, and then the contractor tends to just do the bare minimum to get it off the ground. And so far, all the Ascents have felt, way more than bare minimum. Like they're clearly a lot of passion and
a lot of thought went into it.
But if they had to do that 10 times a year, oh man, I hope they're okay.
Even the iteration time, right? So I remember talking to Shinja between events, and the idea was every Ascent was meant to be a little bit better than the previous one, learn from what worked, what didn't work, and make it better going into Worlds, right? And so but that also works because there's time in between for you to reflect and think.
Yeah.
And that's already a full-time job to just event plan. I think honestly, looking at the calendar, now that I'm visually seeing it, looking at the calendar, I think about how much time between each event do you have to do the reflection, adjustments, right? To make changes for the next event.
Yeah, it's zero time. You're
In addition
already getting ready for the next event.
Right,
Yeah.
But Weebs is not an events company.
No, they
build
gotta
a card
actually
game.
make the cards and design the sets.
Yeah, from the player perspective, I think while it's nice to have events that are local to players so that you can attend events closer to you, does it take away from each event if there's just so many of them? I think I would say last year before the Worlds, I was one of those people who was I'm gonna go to every single Ascent because there's 3 of them, right?
I think we were a lot of us were like that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then now I went to Southeast Asia for the nationals, right? Oh yeah, by the way, there's nationals too. That's gonna happen. They're kind of Ascents. But now I feel I don't know if I have that kind of time.
I want to be very careful saying this because I don't want to come from a position of privilege, being able to
we're very lucky.
Attend a lot of events as saying, therefore, other people shouldn't be able to attend as many events.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic having so many events means a lot of accessibility. People that otherwise wouldn't be able to go to them now get to experience an Ascent.
Yeah.
But you have to balance that with the consideration that, I heard friends being nah, I don't need to go to that Ascent. I'm sure there's going to be another one within a month or two. It's if you have maybe a little bit less, maybe one per continent per year, maybe something like that, you can have even bigger impact, but not have to spend as much effort, not burn yourself out as much.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on board with that plan. I like the accessibility that everyone doesn't have to travel as much just to go to an Ascent. But like Mark said, when they first announced Ascents and we went to Houston and we experienced it and we're wow, this is magical.
Amazing, yeah.
This is a huge celebration of Grand Archive. Everyone came together and it's so emotional. It's so I'm just gonna use the word magical again. It was just spectacular, mind-blowing. And then I also thought I was under the impression that Ascent would be something that would happen once, twice a year.
Yeah.
And I was I would
go to everyone.
Yeah, if I'm financially okay enough, then I will try. I would probably try to travel to every one of them if it's once or twice a year. But now that it's 10 a year, I'm I mean, obviously we don't run the show, but we're just saying
this is just our opinion, and I'm sure the devs have good reasons to want to have as many events as possible. These are bridge building type events too, to grow the player base too.
Yep.
But
keep everyone engaged.
For sure.
And something I thought about too, which is since FTC, the end of FTC, the player base has definitely doubled. Maybe even a little bit more doubled. Yeah. I mean, locally we're seeing that, right? We're seeing 8 people events are now 20-ish.
Yeah, if
Yep.
our if our own locality is a microcosm of the whole community, it's definitely like doubled or tripled.
And then I would say in Asia, it's probably like 3-4x, to be honest. Think about it. I mean, why would they have that kind of regional representation? Yeah.
For sure. I mean, if we want to look at like the Omnidex ID numbers, because like when you sign up, you get a number starting from, you know, like they started from 100 and then it goes up, right?
Yeah.
So I think when Omnidex first dropped, which was when the set ALC came out, end of January, there were about like 3,000-ish
Red numbers taken?
Numbers, yeah.
Okay.
So I would estimate like maybe 4,000
More people have joined
people-ish
since?
were, no, sorry. I would estimate like not everyone signed up right away.
Yeah.
So probably like everyone under 4,000 had been playing before ALC.
Okay, yeah.
Is what I would estimate.
Okay.
And then yesterday we had 2 new players that signed up for Omnidex. Their IDs were 8,800. So the registered people, you know, in Grand Archive definitely doubled since January this year.
Yeah. I'm trying to
end
think,
of January.
Like I signed up Omnidex for my wife at Worlds. I think it was 6,000 something. So you can see even between MRC release to now, that's another 2K players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
And it's,
So the player pop is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah. It looks like Grand Archive's kind of hitting some sort of like acceleration point.
Yeah.
Where we're going to get a lot more players a lot faster. And in cases like this, as a team, you kind of have to start thinking about future proofing, right?
Yeah.
Because you may have to start, for example, doubling your print sizes or whatever.
For sure. And then there's going to be more like manufacturing issues there. And now, you know, on top of scaling all of that, they announced that there's going to like
More events.
And these events are like all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, at least when I say this, I mean it from like, you know, with the best intentions.
Yeah.
It's just like, I hope that, you know, with all of these events, it's not going to like really like burn them out.
Yeah.
Trying to stay on top of these other things. I mean, you know, there was a public acknowledgement about maybe some like of the card. I wouldn't say quality, but maybe like the card.
Unintentional dark foiling was the word that Solidar used in his tweet. Foiling naturally causes cards to be much darker than their non-foil counterparts. To counteract this, we need to increase the brightness across the board, but we just didn't do it enough. Which tells me that they just didn't have enough time, I guess, to make it the way that they wanted to make it.
Totally.
Because in this whole thing, especially when you have to go send something to print, right? You design it in like Photoshop, whatever. It looks this way. You print it, it's not that way. It's like CMK, like versus you know RGB, and then especially with weird things like foiling, you literally can't simulate that on a computer like properly. So you gotta print, look, okay, more ink, print, look, more ink, like that kind of it takes iteration, takes a lot of time.
And also, I don't want it to look like we're complaining too much about the quality of their cards, because I think, sure, we have things we can say about the cards that aren't, entirely positive. But it's also just that we were so spoiled from the good quality that we had in the first few sets, like Dawn of Ashes and Fractured Crown. Those cards were
really
almost nearly flawless, right?
Yes.
I think,
like the bar was set super high from the outset. And so now that we're starting to see like some sort of flaws, we're like, oh no, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's still, still better than some other card games have seen, and really impressive for the tiny team that's making this.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for clarifying that, because I think when we opened Dawn of Ashes, we were like, these are the best looking cards I've ever seen. These are better cards than Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or like these big companies can do, and this is a small indie company. So we're just like comparing their the latest sets to that first batch, which is literally flawless, to one that has now just like a more normal profile of QC.
Right.
All right, we'll talk about great things.
Yes.
Great
Mortal
things
Ambition
on the horizon.
Dude, I swear to God, this set, I'm pre-ordering, whatever. I'm buying the most amount I've ever bought pre-release of any GA set for Mortal Ambition.
Dude, Mark is so excited about Mortal Ambition.
I went back and doubled my order again.
Dude, Mark is the biggest Romance of the Three Kingdoms nut.
Correct. Yeah, that's not a joke. I first watched the TV show when I was in China, and I think I was like 7. I I watched the drama series, like 50 episodes. Fucking fell in love with the shit, right? The video gamers also know Three Kingdoms just through like Dynasty Warriors or whatever. But it's gonna be fascinating because this set for the Asian population, right? It's kind of like this is like Arthurian legends. This is basically Dawn of Ash for Asia. You got to think about it this way, right? So they're gonna look at the box and see that there's like Kongming on it. Buy that shit.
Well, they're not going to recognize Kongming because it's a
girl version.
It's a girl version.
That's
of
right.
Kongming.
Yeah. But it will say Kongming. So.
That's true.
Anyways,
I remember when they did the presentation and they showed one art and you're like, that's the so and so Destiny Spear. I'm like, what?
The blue dragon crescent spear. Yeah.
Like, what are you like?
Crescent blade. Yeah. I was so excited, man.
Yeah.
So okay. Some little other details, right? It's gonna be set in this Three Kingdom era, which is kind of cool for me, for a lot of people. I think you'll enjoy it too. There's a lot of really cool stories. There's a reason why this era of honestly 50, 60 years is like the thing that a lot of Chinese people really know well. I think Japan, Korea, they all know this era. Additionally, it's meant to be a course. I say core set. It's more of a term that I think we know in Magic, but like a reintroduction for new players, right? Maybe it's a way to set and build where you can just play from Mortal Ambitions on. You don't need to worry about getting cards from DOA or whatever, potentially.
Maybe, yeah.
It could be kind of interesting, right?
Because we've talked about complexity creep, right?
Yeah.
In some of the new sets where they're adding so many new mechanics, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I think just this kind of reset is just like exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah.
In their statement, they've also mentioned that AMB is meant to be more beginner friendly, which will be great for the health of the game.
Yeah. Well, any ideas what a CUR could be?
Probably that blue crescent spear you were talking about.
We've never seen a CUR of a non-living.
Okay. That's why they're gonna do it because they haven't done it yet.
They haven't done it yet. It's also kind of like the thing that would be really, I think, character iconic for Three Kingdoms.
Or would it not be the Imperial Seal?
That's right. When I said character, I thought about Imperial Seal too. But the problem with the Imperial Seal was once the first phase of here's what I do. Right, we should do a whole podcast where we just talk about Three Kingdoms.
The lore.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sit here and you're gonna story tell.
I know.
No, you guys should ask me questions. It'll be really fun. Yeah, ask me questions about what you've. Future podcast.
So Mark, who's Lu Bu?
Who's Lu Bu?
Who's Cow Cow?
Cow Cow?
Who's Cow Cow?
Well, the first thing we're going to work on is our pronunciations for the Three Kingdoms.
Sorry, speaking of pronunciation.
Yeah.
So you know how the world that AMB's in is called Sanguo?
Sanguo, yeah. Sanguo.
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 Okay. Well, so for context, we're all Chinese, which made me really excited to talk about AMB with you guys on camera. But we're kind of different flavors of Chinese, right? So you guys speak Mandarin.
Flavors of Chinese.
I mean, you guys speak Mandarin.
Strawberry.
I'm
mango.
I am vanilla.
But I don't speak Mandarin. I speak Cantonese, which is another dialect of Chinese, which is a bit less popular.
How do you say Sanguo in Cantonese?
I don't know.
Country.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah, 3 countries.
Oh, okay. So it literally means 3 kingdoms.
Samguo, right? Samguo.
You speak Cantonese too?
Susula.
Oh my god. But anyway.
I got my HK friends.
Shout out to Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. I see you.
But yeah, in Cantonese, it isn't the exact word, but the word for fruit in Cantonese is sanguo. So whenever I see
水果.
Oh.
Yeah, so whenever I see the world of sanguo, I'm like, all I think of is my mom being like, "Oh, you 食多啲生果啊，生果好啊." Like, eat more fruit. Fruit's good for you. Like, I can't take it seriously.
That's hilarious.
But, okay, so it means 3 kingdoms.
3 kingdoms,
Literally
3
not
kingdoms.
fruit.
Look forward to our fruity podcast.
OMG.
All about AMB.
That's right.
Coming soon. With just dedicated to Mark.
No, please ask questions. It would be so fun. I think I have so many stories to share. You'll be amazed how deep the storyline of 60 years is.
Let me ask you one question now.
Sure.
So I feel like this return to Asia or some kind of Asian reference theme has been done in a lot of other card games. Magic, for example, has Kamigawa, which is like...
Did you know Magic had a 3 Kingdoms
set? Yes, I do know. Okay. And it was literally like just a straight 3 Kingdoms themed Magic set.
That's right.
But I think this is more akin to Kamigawa, which is like they take an existing kind of historical culture and then they like imbue that flavor into a new world.
Sure.
What's your impression of Mortal Ambition so far? Do you feel like it's a authentic representation of the source material, or is it more like I don't know, I don't want to point to any particular franchises, but maybe like a cheap knockoff of like some kind of thing?
In general, I like how it references the character so far. We haven't seen enough cards for me to make a judgment one way or another, but there was some artwork I saw, right? And I thought the artwork was really well done. Like the Koming artwork is actually pretty on spot, because Koming is like, you know, kind of like what's the right, like, it's not a Taoist, but like
Isn't Kongming a strategist, like a military strategist?
Yeah, but so the thing is, like, you know how like back in the old school days, like philosophers are kind of like,
he's like ascetic, like a poet strategist, right? Like
part of this is like also, you know, back in those days, you couldn't like separate magic from science.
Yeah.
So he's a well-learned. So when I'm saying Koming, by the way, it's confusion. I keep saying he. In the Grand Archive set, it's going to be a female character, looks like, right? So far. So, but in the historical Koming is a he, but he's like, you know, really smart, right? He could like scry the stars, basically. Really, seriously. So he would draw these like trigrams and things to kind of like make his science look magical, so people would like really give him a lot of reverence for what he's saying, right? So, you know, then the fan is like super iconic, and I saw the fan, I'm like, yep, good. You know, flavor notes there with the yin yang on it. These are all points where it's like absolutely on spot for whoever the artist is to like reference the right material.
Yeah,
it's a good rendition, even as a female character. So
yeah, and speaking of art, like I think you had a reaction when we mentioned the art earlier.
Oh yeah, I just was quietly like, the art's gorgeous.
Well, which arts did you like?
Recently they tweeted I guess they posted on all their social media, but it was like Kongming with her sister. And it's like a cute girl in a blue and white outfit, and it's really pretty. Oh, Shira, the Lost Spirit, which is going to be the prize for Path of Silver at Singapore.
Yeah,
that
looks so good.
That was so pretty too.
Yeah. I thought the art for, I forget what it's called, but it depicts Diao-chan like casting a wind spell and like blowing away a soldier, and the quote is like, "You ruined the scenery."
You ruined the scenery.
Drawn by Penakes.
Okay. Awesome.
That art is amazing.
Yeah.
Godlike artist.
If the rest of the art in that set is like of similar quality, I think it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, that's the end of our podcast. So, hey, if you have questions for us, you know, feel free to tweet at us at TalkGA Podcast, or you can comment directly in the comment section of this YouTube video with hashtag TalkGA, and then we will get to your questions live on the show next time. But without further ado, I think that's all for this episode. Till next time, stay classy.
Stay classy.
Stay classy.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of TalkGA, our Grand Archive podcast.
And the bloopers are back.
No longer one take.
No
mark.
longer one take mark.
Oh my gosh.
That was a fun one episode run.
I practiced in the car too. I was ready.